What is going on, guys? This is Ben here. In today's video, we are going to be showing you guys the best brawlers and the easiest brawlers to trophy push in solo showdown. We'll also go a little bit into like the hardest and the worst brawlers to trophy push. So hopefully you guys are excited. Definitely leave a like and subscribe, hit the bell notification if you guys do love the Brawl Stars videos, the strategy videos, and everything else. I'll have a lot more to come over the next few weeks here, so stay tuned, subscribe, and let's get into this. So I guess this one little thing first about the rankings here. We're going to go from 10th place to 1st place for good brawlers to trophy push. But that ranking does involve some legendaries and whatnot. So I'm going to have some like honorable mentions in this tier in case maybe you don't have some of the legendaries and whatnot to still make up 10 brawlers that are decent. And then for the worst, I have around 4 or 5 of them that I'm going to go from worst to the way worst, if that makes sense. So yeah, then I just want to say the disclaimer here, like these are just my opinions after trophy pushing and whatnot. I'm currently sitting around like 10,600 and whatnot. So just what I've noticed, and if you guys disagree with some of our rankings, let me know in the comments if you do agree. And then one thing that's really nice about Showdown though is like there really is no like, oh, you should never play Showdown with this brawler. Like Showdown can be really played by like any brawler and can be pushed effectively with it. So that's what's nice about this game mode. It's just I'm gonna give you guys like maybe the easiest brawlers to push for Showdown. So without further ado, now let's hop into it. So coming in at number 10 for some of the best brawlers to push in Showdown, it is going to be Dynamite. He does so much damage, and what's really nice about the lobber brawlers here is a lot of the Showdown maps are very friendly to lobber brawlers, the ones that throw over the walls and everything. So some of the maps that work really well for the lobber brawlers are like Skull Creek, Rock Wall Brawl, Cavern Churn. It can be decent as well. Hot Maze is probably the best one because there's like, it's just all walls pretty much. I will say, personal thing, I hope Hot Maze does get removed from the game, just because I think it's kind of annoying and kind of like it's not the greatest, it's not the most fun map to play. So but yeah, lobber guys, there's a lot of maps that can be dominated by them, and you just gotta kind of try and stay alive with them, try and get those boxes. And then Dynamite just does so much damage with his super, with his regular, basically his regular main attack. And then if you do have his star power, you can just hop over walls and completely just evade a brawler if it's like someone trying to get close, and maybe you can just run away and survive even longer, because the name of the game for Showdown is just survive. So that is why we have Dynamite at number 10. So at number 9 we have Tara, or Tara, however you want to say it, and she is just overall a very nasty brawler. Like she does take the boxes a little slow, but she can melt up close, and once she gets her drag, enemy brawlers beware, because she can just maybe even drag 2 of the enemies together, or she can use it as a safety net too, where she can drag the brawler away from her, and she is so solid. And once she gets like a lot of power cubes, she's very scary. So Tara can just control a Showdown map. A lot of brawlers are not going to want to face her. She has an incredible range for just that little nasty chip damage with her cards, plus her cards go through things. So Tara is a nuisance to deal with, but she's very good in Showdown. So that's why we have her at number 9. So coming at number 8, we have Dynamite's best friend and partner in crime, the other lobber brawler in the game that throw over walls, and it is Barley. So I feel like Barley is just the better brawler of the two, because he can zone. Like with his super, it's just so wide range and just does a ton of damage. And then also when he throws down like his main attack on the ground, it leaves that little pool of, if they walk through it, it's going to deal damage. So he can just zone brawlers. He's a little bit easier to play to like go against like shotgun brawlers, because you don't have to be as precise with your main attack, because you can still like throw it on the ground and say you miss, well, it can still do damage on the ground. Whereas with Dynamite, if you just totally miss a throw, you're not going to deal any damage. Like I said, the one upside with Dynamite is he can bounce over those walls, but I feel like Barley's easier to play, easier to just push trophies in general, and with that zoning techniques that you can do with his main attack and his super, I feel like he's just a better overall, like brawler right now, especially with some of the, he's good on the same amount of maps, kind of like with the, where they can be good with lobbers. It's just like Mortis is the counter to these two, but like with Barley, he has the better thing where like, say a Mortis wants to hop on you, you still can just throw your auto attacks like right on the ground in front of you, and you're going to deal a little bit of damage. So that's why we have Barley up here, just for the zoning techniques, can maybe force a brawler to not come towards you and maybe like let you survive longer in Showdown. So at number 7 we have Bo. He would jump up a few spots if he did have his star power, where you can see that extended range. But like if you do have the star power, he's amazing on Cavern Churn. He's pretty good on Feast or Famine, because he can see the middle, and he can just, any map that has like a lot of grass he's good in. But even if you don't have the star power, this is a map where Bo can shine, because He has the long range with his shots. He does a pretty good amount of damage, and he can take boxes relatively quickly. So that's why we feel like I wanted to push him up the rankings, because we have him in like all other rankings down super low, except for maybe the star power, because his star power is crazy. But he's just like can be pushed well in this, and you're not gonna feel like, oh, Bo sucks in this, because he can do a lot of damage, and he's not like outshined too much by a lot of the other range brawlers. So in number 6 here, we have Brock. I did want to rank him higher, but there's some maps where he's not the greatest on for Showdown, but he still can do so much damage. Like I said before, you can play him as a shotgun brawler because his rockets do so much. Okay, I take that back. You can in a way, because his rockets do so much damage up close, but he doesn't have a whole lot of health. And there's some maps where it's very difficult for Brock because there's like a lot of walls, or it's super close range. And there is some maps though, like Double Trouble and whatnot, where I think it's like Thousand Lakes, where he has like wide shooting lanes and he can be good. Plus, with his super, he can open up the map for himself, or say, you know, a brawler's camping somewhere. It's just very devastating. And if he takes boxes relatively fast as well. And if you get a beefy Brock that has a lot of power cubes, he's one of the scariest brawlers to go up against, because like I said, those rockets deal so much. I guess this is the big tip that I'm going to throw in here too. Try and farm up your super as fast as you can in Showdown. Maybe don't just use it right away, just hold on to it, because you're trying to survive, right? And maybe if you have your super, some brawlers, other brawlers are going to avoid you. Or say you're getting pinched in a bad situation and there's two brawlers kind of trying to pinch you in a corner. If you flash your super, don't necessarily use it. It might back them off and give you a lane to get out of there. I specifically remember once when I was pushing Frank up to 500 and I was like stuck in a corner and I was about to die, and I was like so close to 500 and I was really mad, but I got my super and I just kept it like, I hovered over the super, so like there was a gold ring around me, and the brawlers just kind of backed off because they didn't want to get stunned by me, and it actually allowed me to survive past 5th place, because once you get to a certain amount of trophies, 5th place is where you're kind of neutral on trophies, where you'll gain like 1, but if you get 6th place, you'll start to lose. So number 5 here is our first legendary. I really did want to rank him higher, but I just feel like there's other brawlers that are a little bit better. But number 5 is Crow. Crow is one of the most annoying brawlers to deal with in Showdown, because if he locks onto you and just wants to pick on you, you're just gonna keep just getting hit by him and ticked and ticked and ticked. And with Showdown, like, running away and healing up is key. And maybe camping in like the grass or the brush is key as well for positioning or surviving, not giving away your location to enemy brawlers. And if Crow is on your butt and just keeps hitting you with his auto attack and you keep ticking down your health, you're not going to be able to charge. You're going to be shown in the brush, so maybe it invites other brawlers to come to you. So Crow is just really nasty. And if you get Crow super, it's so versatile. You can bounce to a safe part in the Showdown map. You can bounce in to kill a really low health brawler, because maybe a couple brawlers were fighting and they're both trying to run away and they're kind of weak. You can pick which one to go to, and then you'll be in a great spot to take those power cubes and be in a very good situation. So with Crow, just the annoyance that he can be, and he has the nice range. Now, don't face check with him. He's gonna get obliterated up close, but like, he just always check the brush with his auto attack. Number 4, we have Pam. Pam is so tanky. Her healing turret can be used for like a defensive shield for her. It can be used just to heal her up, and she melts up close. She takes boxes super quick. If you have the star power, she survives even longer. So Pam is just a nightmare to deal with. She's got really long range. I know they're not tires. I said this before too, but like I just love her auto attack. How it looks like she's flinging tires or shooting tires, and that is so long range. And it's just like kind of like the same essence as Crow, where it's so annoying the range that it's at, and like Pam can like fling a tire and it's like it'll just barely nick you, and but it stops you from healing up. And her range is just ridiculous, so she can just slowly chip you down, and not a lot of other brawlers can like basically deal with that. And the upside too is like, it doesn't matter if you're fighting at far range, she's gonna melt you up close too. So number 3, this one might raise some eyebrows, but I think it's justified. It is Bull. So around 500 trophy Showdown, this might not be as good. This is more for maybe like 300, 400-ish, pushing up to 500, but Bull is very good on a lot of the Showdown maps. Namely, it's like Feast or Famine, where there's a lot of brush. Cavern Churn, just anyway, basically any map where there's a lot of close range engagements. Because the Bull is the highest DPS damage when you're right on top of someone. So you want to be like kind of like and he does destroy boxes really fast too. So he can like two-shot at blocks when I think you have him at max level, like up close. He can literally just run the middle in Feast or Famine. So in Feast or Famine, you're going to see a ton of him. In Cavern Churn as well, you're going to see a ton of Bulls and a ton of Bows, because Bow is going to try and run the middle with the star power of his added sight, and Bull is just going to be like, I'm going to just try to just be as sneaky as I can in the middle here, because I know I will melt anyone up close. So number 2, we have Spike. Spike is just overall good in everything pretty much in this game, and maybe until eventually he gets nerfed. Like if you're watching this in the future and Spike like kind of is bad, that'd be so like a different story from what it is now. He's good in like everything. His spikes of his main attack, when it blows up and those spikes come out, just extend his range, just that little chip. He can kind of like with that hit around corners, and he does so much damage. Like if you land a direct shot with your main attack on someone, does so much damage. He can take boxes fast. His super can zone. It can slow down brawlers. It can stop them from getting away. It can make them not come close to you. And I don't think I need to explain Spike too much. It's just, he is so good, and I feel like in every ranking it's these top 2, but for right now, but he's legendary. So, but yeah, Showdown, he's a nightmare, and he's so good. So number 1, this should come with no surprise. It is Leon. Leon has the attack where at long range it doesn't deal a whole lot, but as it gets closer it does more and more and more, and he absolutely shreds when you're like right on top of him. But he's a little bit weaker, although he does take boxes at an insanely fast rate, so you can farm up the boxes with him. That's part of the reason why he's so good. His super is probably the reason why he's number 1 here though, and that is because of his invisibility. Now you can see him like when he's 4 tiles away from you, but if the Leon happens to have the star power, your reaction, or the amount of time you're gonna have to react to when you finally see him when he's like getting close to you while he's invis, doesn't matter. He's gonna melt you, because at that short tile range, he's gonna hurt. And especially expect him to have a lot of boxes, and he's just able to zip around the map when on the invis. He can run away. He can just cause so much havoc. He's like the anti-teamer brawler, because if he sees someone teaming, he's just going to go invis, and the teamers aren't going to know, and he's going to melt them. So Leon, with no surprise, he's number 1 here. Just is incredible in this. Like I said though, he is a legendary, so I'm gonna talk about the replacement brawlers in here, that if there weren't these legendaries here, they would probably make it into the top 10, but they'd probably be like, I don't know, like around 10, 9, and 8. So another ones that are really solid for pushing in Showdown. Shelly is very good. With her, you can beat Bull up close by having your super ready. If you're like walking through the grass and the brush and whatnot, it's the same thing. I just say both because some people call it brush, some people call it grass. Just say it. But yeah, if you get Shelly, you get the super. You don't really have to be really afraid of anyone. Like if you just are like running in there, if someone gets on top of you, just have your auto-aimed super ready to fire, and then you're just gonna push them back, and then just use your main attacks, and you're gonna take them out. And then we have Primo. Primo's another one. He's a little bit, but I see him enough, and I felt like I did a good amount of my trophy pushing with him in this, where he's not the greatest close range brawler, but he does have that just tanky amount of health. And if he gets on top of someone, maybe he's like chilling in the grass or the brush, and just like a brawler like that isn't really like the shotgunners is unknowing, he's gonna destroy him. And then we have Colt here too. So Colt's kind of like, he can be a nasty foe to deal with. He melts up close. Well, I wouldn't say up close, but he melts like when he starts hitting his shots. And so if you can aim, learn like Colt well, and land your shots, he's gonna be a nightmare. He takes boxes very fast, and his shots pack a punch if they can hit. So with Colt, I have him up here too. So now I want to get to the 5 brawlers that are kind of like really hard to trophy push, maybe outside of like a couple maps in Showdown. Now, like I said earlier, you still in Showdown can like push like any brawler, because mainly you're just trying to survive. These are just the ones that are a little bit more difficult, and I'm gonna start off the list with Piper. Now, aside from like maybe like 1,000 Lakes, which she can be decent on because there's a lot of like lanes, And Double Trouble is Double Trouble. She's very good in here. She would make like the top 10 easily for Double Trouble. But aside from those two, Piper's not the greatest brawler to push in the showdowns. Number 4, I have Daryl here. I feel like he's better in other modes now because he can run away with his super, or he can just jump in on a brawler that is low. I just feel Daryl is kind of outshined up close range with like the shotgun brawlers at the moment, but I feel like he's a little tricky, so that's why I have him down here. And then number 3, we have Ricochet. He's good on some maps. He can do a lot of damage, but he's really weak. And I feel like with the really squishy and weak brawlers, it's difficult sometimes, because you just take a little bit of chip damage from someone and oop, here comes another brawler just around the corner just randomly and you're already weak. He's gonna die. And number 2, we have Jessie. Jessie's on here because she doesn't take boxes very fast. It's kind of her main attack is like a slow moving projectile, and she doesn't really get a lot of the bounce effects unless like a brawler's standing on top of a box, or if there happens to be a couple brawlers lined up. So number 1 is Mortis. He can be pushed. It might not be the most fun or the most entertaining or the most like enjoyable thing, so just run away. With Mortis, he has the best ability to run away constantly, because of his main attack is always running away and surviving and getting out of bad situations. But he's gonna, like, if a shotgun brawler or someone can bully you or whatever, just if you get caught in a bad spot, you're not gonna be able to do much unless like you're just picking off like a brawler where it's kind of weak. That's the list. Let me know what you guys agree with, what you don't agree with. Stay tuned for some more strategy videos. For this one, I just had like the showdown gameplay going in the background, and not every single brawler that I was talking about was on the screen. I know I've done that in like all the other brawler tier lists, but I didn't have a whole lot of time, especially with like the holidays and stuff, so that's the reason for that. But hope you guys did enjoy the video. Let me know what your favorite Showdown Brawler to play is and everything, what your favorite game mode is. The nice thing about Showdown though is like you can just hop in and just play it, and I really like it when the event mods are in the 4th slot, where because it stops a lot of the teamers. So other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'll see you guys later.